Good afternoon, everyone. Every time I walk into villages, I see women whose hands are rough, not because of their weakness or age, but because they have tirelessly worked to make life smoother for their near and dear ones. I have come across children who know hunger better than hope. I have seen workers who know pain better than pay. What moves me the most is not their struggle, it's not their pain, it's not even their poverty, it's their silence. Silence to violence, silence to oppression, silence in the face of injustice. This silence is not actually void or weak. This silence echoed louder than words ever could. This silence is louder than any cry for help. And in this powerful silence, I found my life's purpose. My name is Sujita, and I have been working in the development sector for more than 15 years. With these many years of experience, I have worked alongside with some of the most resilient people, the tribal communities in India and Kenya, salt pan workers of Tamil Nadu, and rural coastal dwellers in Ramanathapuram and Sri Lanka. Now, I'm going to take you through three of my most important projects. So my first project was with the tribal communities in the Javadi Hills, which is near Vellore. It was my first field day. It was Monday morning around 11 o'clock when I reached my workstation. I expected the children to be in the school, but surprisingly, I saw them working in the fields. Some children were staying in their homes, some children fetching water, some children were preparing lunch for their family. So I saw a girl stirring a pot of rice. I sat next to her and had a conversation with her and asked her, like, why you didn't go to school today? The child smiled and said, Akka, I have never seen school in my life. It's not that she did not go to school today or yesterday. She has never seen a school in her life. This is not just about one girl, so she's just an example of so many other girls in the same hamlet. Then in the next day, community meeting, I asked the same girl's parent, like, what happened? Why you didn't send your child to school for these many years? They looked at me with tired eyes and said, the school is far. The path to school is unsafe. No proper roads. Then they asked me one question, which just shook me. Why risk her life for something so far? I had no answer. There was a total silence. Because how do you respond when survival takes the place where dreams should live? When safety is more important than opportunity? So my second project, again, my second project took me to the salt pans of Tamil Nadu. I worked for the welfare of the salt pan workers. These workers are the ones who produce the salt that we all consume every day. So most of these salt pan workers are women. When you look at these salt pans are a beautiful landscape, if you see. The salt it looks like snow, and so many shootings do happen there in the salt pans. But that doesn't really reflect the life of the workers who work on this salt pan from morning till evening. So basically, these women start working from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the evening. Usually, the salt harvest takes place between the month of March to May, that is peak summer. These women, they can't wear slippers, so they have to stand in salt hot water. So they have all this cracked heels, their backs are bent due to hardships, and then their hands and legs are all, it usually has multiple wounds because of the hard labor. So as part of my research, I interviewed a group of women and asked them, how much do you get paid for such hard work? So few of the women, they didn't even know what salary do they get because their husbands take the salary. And one hesitant voice said, ma'am, it is somewhere between 150 to 200 rupees. This scenario, it was just 3 years back. So 150 to 200, then I was surprised, 10 to 12 hours you work, and most of the time it's summer, but still you get only 150 to 200. Then I questioned them, do you know that you are entitled to fair wages? Do you know that there is something called minimum wage that exists? Again, there was silence. It doesn't mean that they did not understand my question, but just that no one told them that they could ask for such thing. Here, the silence is not actually silence, but the fear. Fear of losing the only job they had, fear of being told that this is what you deserve, fear that has been passed down like inheritance from generation to generation. So my next project, which is very, very close to my heart, and most of you might be aware of this particular crisis, that is water crisis in Ramanathapuram. So my third project was to address the water crisis in Ramanathapuram. It was afternoon. Always, whenever you travel along the EZR, you can see small children carrying carts like this. When I visited, it was the same scenario. Before even when I started my project, it was this same scenario. So when I visited Ramanathapuram for my first visit, it was around 12:15 in the afternoon. I saw a girl barely of your age, maybe between 10 to 12. The girl was dragging this cart. This is a water cart. It will have 4 to 5 water pots in it. She was dragging a cart on a highway. So it was a busy highway. So the wheel hit a stone and then the cart toppled. So did she. So she sat on the dusty road and cried, not because of pain, but because of helplessness. But within few seconds, she gathered herself, stood up, and she took her cart and went again. So children like her, they have to walk with this cart for at least 2 to 3 kilometers a day to fetch 4 to 8 pots of water every day. Not just walking, they also have to wait in queues for 1 to 2 hours. That's the minimum time I'm saying. That too, they have to pay a price of 20 rupees per pot. This is the condition of these children. So while looking at this, I was shocked. See, water is a basic human right, but children have to fight for it each and every day. To me, it sounded like, see, children of her age, they dream about going to college, going to school or playing with a fence. But for these children, their day starts and ends in search of water. So many questions came across my mind. Few of the questions were like, what is the long-term solution for this? How long is this going to continue? Because it is a water, it's a natural resource. How can we bring in a solution? Who is responsible for this? So many other thoughts were running in my mind. But though I had a lot of questions, I discussed this with a lot of people, but no one had any answer for this particular situation. Again, just like in tribal hills, just like in salt pans, here it was silence. Silence because there were generations of believing that this is how just life is. So, in all these 3 scenarios, you all might have seen, the struggles were different, the regions were different, but the silence was the same. Silence in the tribal hills where children never dreamt beyond their survival. Silence in the salt pans where women worked but never understood their worth. Silence in Ramanathapuram where children were fetching water instead of fetching their dreams. So here, when I said silence, silence doesn't mean absence of words. It is the absence of awareness. So I was of the thought that by giving people something, change is going to happen. But that's not the case. I very well realized that real change doesn't happen by giving people something, giving aid, giving support, giving money. It's not the case. When real change has to happen, it has to come from the people by believing in themselves that what they seek was always theirs to begin with. It has to begin with them. So, with this awareness, with this realization, I started including rights awareness as part of all my projects. We discussed rights, we discussed equality, we discussed opportunities, dignity, and we always had this discussion with the beneficiaries. And also, with slowly things started moving months later, after countless conversations with the community, because they all come from the underprivileged community. We can't directly tell them, see, this is how rights is. You have to fight for it. It doesn't work that way. I sat with them, protested with them for getting their rights, and so like this, conversations do happen. I sat with them, protested with them. We all fought together. We raised a lot of petitions to the government. We raised funds to address certain crises, to help and make them understand that there are something called as basic rights. So what happened few months later, so we started bearing the fruits, no? We started getting the fruits of whatever we have done. So the first thing is the tribal girl who was once stirring the pot of rice. I saw her standing before a school gate with her first school, it was her first school day, with her first uniform, first school bag. It was not just a child entering into a classroom. It was a family stepping out of silence. The transformation slowly started touching every household in the village. And then the salt pans. The salt pan workers who once bowed to unfair wages now stand tall before the government authorities claiming their benefits. Their hands, which were once rough, now signing not just on papers but changing the destinies of their sons and daughters. And then in Ramanathapuram, the villagers who once kept quiet because of fear, now slowly when few of them started supporting our campaigns, then few more joined. When silence gave way to courage, there were hundreds of villagers who came together and joined hands with us. So which started as a protest now became a movement. What happened in all these scenarios? So this is the girl who became a graduate, and now these were the campaigns that we started, and this was actually, just don't take me, it was an entire community behind me. This photograph was mine, but it has like lakhs of faces behind. So what happened? How the transformations begin? The transformation began once when people understood that I have rights and I can use them. This is where the real transformation began. So when the rights awareness reached the villages, reached the people, transformation started following the entire village. This is the power of using your own rights. When you use your rights, when you know your rights and use it effectively, it doesn't change just one person's life. Instead, it changes the destiny of the generations. So, my dear children, now I want you all to understand that you're all young, vibrant, and you're all full of dreams. But your dreams will bloom only when you use your rights and exercise your rights effectively. Knowing your rights is like switching on a light in a dark room. It will very clearly show you what is right and what is not, what is ethical and what is not, what you can stand up for and what you can never stand up for. This is the kind of clarity that rights education can give you. A child who is well aware of the rights today will grow up to an adult with kindness, compassion, and knowledge, who will use all of these to build a better tomorrow. So, my dear children, know your right, stand up for what is right, shape your future with courage, wisdom, and knowledge. And not just shaping your own future, you're shaping the future of the nation. I'm going to conclude this speech with just one thought. Awareness starts in rooms like this and hearts like yours. So I want you all to understand that before you leave this room, I want you all to remember that you can be the change, you can change someone's world just by refusing to stay silent. So know your rights, shape your future. Thank you so much. Thank you.